Welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm Sketches.n.Scrubs. I thought that I would start things off by doing sketchbook tour. To be honest, that's the videos that I love most on YouTube. I hope you enjoy. I got this sketchbook. It was a Royal Lykeskin sketchbook. I actually got it because I had the issue of getting all these like expensive sketchbooks that would maybe cost like, anyway, it doesn't matter what they'd cost. But the point was that I kept getting sketchbooks and I would never fill them because I'd feel like they were really expensive. And then I found this sketchbook and it was £3. And because it was so cheap, I thought, okay, fine, I can get this and I can get over that block of like doing 1 or 2 pages every year. So that's essentially why I got this. So I first started by trying to do a portrait of my mum. Those who know my mum will know this looks nothing like her. A portrait of myself. Those who will know me know that this doesn't look like me at all. If you know, it's essentially saying how, you know, it's a self-portrait. I don't really like it, but you know, I didn't want to stick the pages together. I wanted to try it out so that I could see if there was a change. And I used like I drew it in pen initially and then just used a watercolor wash. Lake. Near me I saw swan, so I drew that and tried to paint the lake as well. And this is in July of 2019. Then this was like an acrylic painting, quite simple, quite quick. Wanted to try it, and then I had some paint left over from it. I didn't want to waste it, so I used that to make this kind of stamp-like painting of the park I was at. Then I think I watched a YouTube video for this one, and if I find it I'll link it down below. But then again, some acrylic paints and kind of getting a bit more comfortable. Oh, leftover paint from the previous painting, and did a painting that I hated, so I just turned it all red and drew a rose on top of it. Hey ho, we're not all perfect. The lake I used to go to near my old house. And again, I would have probably done that there. I tried to follow a tutorial for this. I honestly don't know what the tutorial was, but what I do very much remember is that this looks absolutely nothing like the tutorial. I couldn't even find it if I tried because it just doesn't resemble it at all. And that was acrylic as well. Then this was watercolor painting that I tried. And then I went back to acrylic and saw a reference image and was trying to again draw water because I really wanted to get good at painting water. Random acrylic painting. You can see the theme of trying to draw water. Still in July. I'm trying to paint waters, trying to see if a different colour will make any difference. And this is the lake again that I used to hang out. Yeah, some hills in the background, the lake, a few logs. Then I walked past London Zoo and you can see the giraffes from the outside, so I sketched one. And near there's Regent's Park, so after seeing the giraffes I saw this and I sketched that in Regent's Park. Committed to trying to get better at water but not quite getting it, and this was with watercolour, a different painting of water, sunset. And I think, yeah, I was still in September. Yeah, so now we're in September. This was a mixture of real life and not real life, in the sense I went for a walk near my old place and I saw this kind of woody area, and then this area that's actually water wasn't there. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be lovely if there was sea there? So I painted that. I swatched my watercolor paints, and these were like really cheap watercolor paints I got from Amazon. And again, it was kind of this whole thing of I don't want to waste money because I'm not very good at doing art yet. But I do think that there is something to be said for investing in art supplies. When you start, it doesn't have to be crazy expensive or artist grade, but it does make a difference. And looking back, I can see that I was kind of putting myself at a disadvantage by starting with such poor quality paint. Continuing the swatches and trying to figure out cool colors versus warm colors and the color wheel water. And then I think this is when I got some different paints. So you can just see the complete difference in vibrancy. And it's not a question of big gap in skill or, you know, in time. It was genuinely, I think, like a 1 week difference between the two. So this is when I went on holiday in Kos, and I kind of got a little bit more into urban sketching. So I was sat by the beach and it was absolutely wonderful. And it's in my own style, so it's not exactly how it was. But when I look at that picture, I get very clearly reminded of what it was like. Then on the walk back from the beach, it was like this really tiny old house that I saw. So I just stood there and sketched it and then kind of painted it with watercolor paints. Then, yeah, so I didn't like this, but I was determined not to stick pages together. Then from there I went to Bodrum. So this was the bar from my hotel, and again just kind of using that, my sisters described it as like a cartoon style for urban sketching, but essentially yeah, this was kind of like the view. I sat by the pool and painted that with watercolors. And then this is incomplete, but is essentially the view, or was part of the view from my hotel, a different hotel in Bodrum. And this is the view in the daytime, if that makes sense. These hills are these hills here. And again, I just sat by the pool and painted, which was amazing. Hands down, one of the best hotels I've ever been to. And this is making my way back to Kos. This is on the ferry. This is what was around me, and it's only half an hour, but it was kind of enough to get the colours down and to sketch it. And when I was back in Kos, I went to the amphitheatre and I sat down and painted again. Then on my way from Kos back home, was in the airport and they were doing some reconstruction. So this is like the airport area that I was in, and it was very blocky, very cold, no people, no posters, no nothing, just concrete. But it was actually a really good opportunity to try and sketch perspective better. So yeah, to just get a good idea of like perspective, and again trying to keep that urban sketching kind of feel when it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to, like, for me, resemble what I'm trying to do. This is my quote-unquote holiday style painting in Mallorca. So my sister was wearing all blue, and this is a sketch to represent her there, and then the kind of scenery that we were surrounded by. Another painting of Mallorca, and this was the palace. This was done from a picture I took of Bodrum, like the market, and it was just so beautiful, lots of colours, lots of people. And I think I took this picture literally in the middle of the night. It must have been like 2 or 3 a.m. and still there were so many people. This was Bodrum again, so walking back from the amphitheatre, there was like this wonderful little path with like a little fountain, so I took a picture and I drew that later on. This is a different view of the palace in Mallorca. This is a picture of a defibrillator from the Cotswolds in a phone box. I thought it was really cool. This is Reigate Hill, which was near where I lived.
6 months later.
This is from Mallorca again, walking back, beautiful sunset. I think one of the main reasons that I started painting was that there were so many scenes or so many times that I would see something that was so beautiful. I would try to take a picture of it. The picture doesn't really look like it. And then, I don't know, I just wanted a better way to like connect with it or to remember it. And I thought, if I could actually paint really well, then perhaps I could paint it better. I could better remember all these things. So this is kind of like an example of that. This is from a YouTube video, just doing a tutorial. I can't explain what this is or where it's from. I'm so sorry. Nor can I explain this. This is my ficus plant, which at the moment has seen better days. But I really like that painting. This is again from another YouTube video. If I have seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. So an elephant painting. This was a painting of my grandparents' house in Nigeria. This is a painting from my trip to the Cotswold, and I really liked it, but I also really liked putting on black ink, which you may have noticed from my other paintings. I wasn't sure whether to put black ink, will it ruin it, will it make it better? So my conclusion was to do it again, but in a different style, so that I would have both and essentially leave this like whimsical and as it is, and then leave this with a little bit more black pen and a little bit more stylized. This is the Cotswold, a little cottage. And would it be me if I didn't try to do water again? So this is when I decided to start the 100-day challenge, and this is in April 2020, obviously with everything going on with the pandemic, wanting a positive outlet. That's when I started that, and this is with watercolour. This is acrylic piece, watercolour piece, a heart. This was a tree that I saw when I went for I think it would be a stretch to call it a hike. It was actually a bit more of a gentle walk in Surrey. There was like a dead tree in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, painted that. And another watercolour painting, my first floral, and this is the first of many. This is one of my favourites in this book. Anemones, I'm not sure how to say them. And water lilies. And I thought it went so nicely with these flowers because they kind of look like they're bowing down. I was with a friend and she'd seen my book. We had 10 minutes left before we had to go back to work, and I asked her, oh quick, tell me what kind of flower you'd like me to draw, because I was trying to draw every day. And she said a peony. And this was the peony that. This was me trying to paint a flower that's behind the glass that's been rained on. You can tell I'm ambitious. Forget-me-nots. More forget-me-nots. Trying to play around with colour. Finish my micron pens on this. Note to self, don't do that again. So I think at this point I was following like prompts from Instagram with florals. And I hadn't really done florals beforehand. I have a crazy thing of florals, but I did find them quite therapeutic to do and quite relaxing. So once I kind of got started, I didn't really stop. I just kept going. This is You Matter, roses, trying out different patterns again with watercolour, trying out chrysanthemums. So to scriptures, Romans 8:18, our present suffering is not worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed in us. And Romans 8:39, no power in the sky above or the earth below, indeed nothing in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Christ Jesus our Lord. A bouquet. Trying to paint daisies, and don't paint the white, you paint the shadows. Wrapping my head around that. Another bouquet. It's undeniable, you are special. This was around the time of the BLM protests and flowers in different shades of brown. This was for obviously Black Lives Matter, so each flower to represent black person that had been killed through police brutality. What counts as the new creation? Peace and mercy to all who follow this rule. Sunflowers, I think for Atsley Rachel. Black Lives Still Matter. This was for Eric Garner. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. Roses. Practicing leaves because I'm not great at doing leaves. Starting gouache and trying to conquer gouache. First of many battles. I'm getting more gouache. Watercolour on the outside, gouache on again, more gouache. So I did all three of these at the same time and I disliked all of them. Oh gosh. Love is Patient, it's Corinthians, and then roses, the rose pattern, some more flowers, and some of my favourite flowers, so the roses, not this one, it's not bad, but I think I need to work on composition. This is when I had 400 followers on Instagram. This is one of my favourites, as well as this. This is okay. And this is one of my favourites. Through it all, God remains faithful. And that completes my first ever complete sketchbook. So mission was accomplished. £3, very well spent. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching the video. It is my first one, so don't be too harsh, but there'll be a lot more to come, so feel free to comment down below, to like, to subscribe, and to hit me up on Instagram as well, and I'll get back to you. Thank you. I've left links to really good quality but affordable art supplies that I'd recommend for beginners and that I kind of wished I'd used in the description down below. So have a look, let me know what you think. Any feedback and comments are very much welcome. Bye, until next time.